Hi everyone. We are going to start by talking about how to find the rate, time, or principal. We're going to take this formula that we've been working with, I equals PRT, and we're going to solve it for some of the other pieces. So what we are going to do is I'm going to put it in a triangle, very similar to the one that we saw in Chapter 6, that for percentages. I'm going to put the I in the top, the P, the R, and the T. Okay, so now this nice thing about putting them in this triangle this way, we are able to solve for the other pieces relatively easily. So P, if I kind of cover that up, we will see that the I is over that R and that T. Similarly, R is I over P, T, and T is I over P, R. Okay, so we have these new little formulas for calculating the other parts of that I equals PRT formula. So let's do some examples using these new formulas that we can think of. So we have, let's go with Steve. He's going to take out a loan, took out a $700 loan. He pays back $740 after 8 months. And what we want to find is the rate being charged. Okay, so in this case we are looking for our rate. So rate is equal to I over PT. Now the first thing I'm going to look for is my I, remembering that I stands for interest, or the amount charged for the borrowing of money. If he takes out a $700 loan and pays back $740, the extra amount that he had to pay was that interest. So to find our interest in this case, we do have to do a little bit of work and subtract. So we're going to take that 740 minus that 700 and get 40. My principal, that's the amount we took out, or that original amount, so that's that 700. And my time, T, has to be in years. We have 8 months, so I'm going to write that as 8 over 12. Okay. Now to get my calculator to do this all in one step, you have to be a little bit careful, because we need to make sure that these pieces get put together and stay in that denominator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 40 and I'm going to divide by, in parentheses, 700 times that 8/12. So again, you're going to need that extra little set of parentheses in order for you to get this to work. So 740 divided by parentheses 700 times 8/12. Whoops. There we go. And I come up with 0.0857114, and there are more decimals. So to the nearest tenth of a percent, this would be 8.6% if I rounded it to the nearest tenth. Remember, we want to move our decimal first and then round, so that we round to the place that we want to. So I usually have been going to the nearest tenth in this course. I will probably continue to do so. All right, let's do another example. Let's find, oh, the sky looks good. Let's go with Harriet. Paid $55 in interest on her simple interest loan of, simple interest loan at 4% for, let's go with 95 days. Find the amount of her loan and we're going to use ordinary interest so we can review that idea again. Okay, this problem, we're looking for her original amount of the loan. That's her principal. P is equal to I over RT. So my interest, that is at $55 that we have sitting up there. Our rate in its decimal form is 0.04. Time, or T, which is time in years, is going to be my 95 days. Since we are using ordinary interest, that means we are going to assume there are 360 days in a year. Again, to force these guys to stay in that denominator, we are going to put some parentheses around it. And we'll see that we're going to take that 55 divided by parentheses 0.04 times our 95 over 360. And I come up with 5210.5, and I'm going to go to the nearest penny because we are talking about money. All right. Let's do another problem. Okay, let's say that Tom borrowed $4,500 at 15% interest on September 5th. And let's say we want to know when should he pay this back to only pay, let's say he only wants to pay $125 in interest. And that should be a question. Okay, so he's borrowing this amount at that rate on this day. He wants to know when. So that sounds like time to me. So time is I over PR. Our I is the interest. Well, he only wants to pay $125 in interest. Okay. P is that principal. That's the $4,500. And R is that interest rate, which is a whopping 15%. Again, we're going to take and force those two guys in the bottom to stay in the bottom together. Whoops, times, sorry. It should be times. Make that look more like a multiplication. So 125 divided by 4500 times 0.15. And I come up with 0.185185, and it looks like it's a nice repeating decimal that goes on and on and on forever. Now time, when we've been dealing with our problems, is this in years. So 0.185 roughly years. In order to turn this into something that we can use in order to answer our question, we need to turn this into days. So I could find out how many days past this guy do I need to go. Thinking what we did when we had days, we would divide by 360 or 365. Since I am looking for specific days, I'm going to use exact interest. And so instead of dividing, I'm going to take this guy and multiply by 365. So I'm going to take that guy, which is already still sitting in my calculator, and I'm going to just simply times 365. Yeah, maybe, there we go. And I come up with 67.59, so forth. I'm going to round that up to 68 days. Some people will argue to always round up. Some people will argue to always round down. In my class, we'll round like normal. I'm more interested, do you know the process, than the pickiness, because I'm more on process for you guys. So we need to go 68 days from September 5th. So again, we're going to drag out our old friend, that days of the year calendar. I'm going to abbreviate. Well, maybe not. All right, so September 5th. September 5th is 248. We are going to add on our 68 days. That gives me 316. So on day 316 is when I need to go pay it off. And day 316 happens to be November 12th. So go back and pay that thing off on November 12th. We'd only have to pay $125. If November 12th landed on a Saturday or a Sunday, I would probably go in on Friday, pay it off, and you pay a little less than that, $125. I hope this helps on finding the different pieces of that formula. If you have questions, of course, please email me.